You won't believe what happened the day my nosy neighbor Karen tried to steal from me one time too many. I'm talking full-on chaos, running, screaming, and one of the funniest neighborhood moments I've ever seen in my life. And it all started with one problem. Karen wouldn't stop stealing my packages. Now, let me back up for a second. I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood. It's the kind of place where people mow their lawns on Saturdays, wave politely at each other, and pretend like life is all sunshine and roses. But there's always one person who ruins the peace. And in my neighborhood, that person was Karen. She had the loudest voice, the nosiest attitude, and the boldest sense of entitlement I'd ever seen. She thought the whole block revolved around her. She barked at kids for riding bikes too close to her driveway, reported people for grass violations, and even once told the mailman he was too slow delivering her Amazon orders. But what she became infamous for was stealing other people's packages. It started small. A missing box of socks here, a kitchen gadget there. Neighbors would complain, but nobody ever caught her red-handed. Packages would vanish off porches, and magically, a few days later, you'd see Karen walking around with the very item someone said they lost. And then, she came for me. One Monday afternoon, I got a delivery notice. A new set of headphones I'd ordered had arrived. I raced home after work, only to find nothing. The box was gone. At first, I thought maybe the delivery was delayed. But then, the very next morning, I saw Karen walking down the street, wearing my exact headphones. Bright blue, limited edition, the same brand and model. No way it was a coincidence. I was furious, but I didn't have proof. Calling her out would just turn into a shouting match, and knowing Karen, she'd spin it around and make me look like the bad guy. So I waited. Over the next month, it kept happening. Every time I ordered something, it would vanish. New phone charger? Gone. A set of books I'd been waiting weeks for? Vanished. I even tried having the delivery service place the packages behind a flower pot on my porch. Didn't matter. Karen would swoop in like a hawk and snag them. And every time, within a day or two, I'd notice her using or wearing something suspiciously familiar. It wasn't just me either. Other neighbors whispered about it too. But again, no one had proof. That's when I decided, if I couldn't stop Karen from stealing, maybe I could teach her a lesson. I started brainstorming. How do you deal with someone who keeps stealing packages off your porch? Fake packages with glitter bombs? Too messy. A box full of bricks? Too heavy. Dog poop in a bag? Tempting, but not quite satisfying enough. Then it hit me. My uncle is a beekeeper. He has hives out in the countryside and jars of honey stacked taller than me. I gave him a call and asked, half jokingly, "Hey, you think I could borrow a few bees?" He laughed at first, but when I explained the situation, he said, "Well, I can give you a small transport box. It'll hold a few dozen bees. They'll be fine for a few hours, as long as you don't shake it too much. What are you planning to do?" I told him my idea. He paused for a moment, then said, "Son, this is either the dumbest or the most brilliant thing I've ever heard. Just make sure you record it." The next Saturday, my uncle handed me a small wooden box with tiny ventilation holes and about 50 buzzing bees inside. I carefully placed it inside an Amazon box, padded it with newspaper, and taped it shut. On the outside, I wrote in big bold letters, "Fragile, handle with care." Then, I set up my doorbell camera and a second camera hidden behind a flower pot, both aimed at my porch. And I waited. It didn't take long. The package had been sitting there for maybe 20 minutes when I saw her. Karen strutted across the street, glancing around like some bargain bin spy in a bad movie. She crept up my driveway, looked left, looked right, and then, without hesitation, scooped up the package. She hugged it to her chest and scurried back across the street toward her house. I grabbed some popcorn. The show was about to begin. Not even 2 minutes later, I heard it. Screaming. "Ah! What is this? Ah!" Karen burst out her front door, the box half ripped open in her hands. A cloud of bees followed her, swarming around her hair. She was flailing her arms, running in circles, shouting words I can't repeat here. She dropped the box in her yard, but the bees were already buzzing angrily around her. She sprinted down the sidewalk, waving her hands wildly, yelling for help. Neighbors peeked out their windows, confused and amused. One guy across the street actually pulled out his phone and started recording too. Karen kept running and screaming, "Someone help me! They're attacking me!" But the truth is, the bees weren't really attacking her. They were just disoriented from having their box ripped open. A few buzzed around her head, maybe one or two landed on her shirt, but it wasn't nearly as dramatic as she made it sound. Still, she was in full-blown panic mode. Eventually, Karen ran so far down the block that the bees lost interest and flew back toward the broken box. She stood panting on the corner, hair a mess, face red, yelling about how someone had planted a dangerous trap. That's when the other neighbors came out. "What happened?" one of them asked. "Some lunatic filled a package with bees," she screeched. "I could have died." The neighbor raised an eyebrow. "Wait, why were you opening someone else's package?" Karen froze. You could see the realization hit her face like a brick. She tried to backpedal, mumbling something about checking for explosives and protecting the neighborhood, but nobody was buying it. And then, I pulled up the footage from my doorbell camera. Clear as day, it showed her sneaking up, stealing the package, and tearing it open in her house. The whole neighborhood saw it. From that day on, Karen's reputation went downhill fast. People stopped trusting her. Neighbors stopped inviting her to block parties. And whenever she tried to complain about anything, like kids being too loud or lawns not trimmed perfectly, someone would always joke, "Careful, Karen, or maybe you'll get another bee delivery." As for me, well, I got my sweet, buzzing revenge. The bees were safely returned to my uncle's hive, none the worse for wear. And Karen, she never stole another package off my porch again. So what's the takeaway here? It's simple. Don't mess with other people's stuff. Respect what isn't yours. Karen thought she was untouchable, that she could keep stealing without consequence. But the truth is, eventually, people get tired of being pushed around. And when that happens, well, sometimes karma doesn't just sting metaphorically, it stings for real. And that's how I turned the neighborhood package thief into a running, screaming spectacle with the help of a few buzzing friends. So tell me, what would you have done if Karen kept stealing from you? Would you have gone for the bees? Or maybe something even crazier? I know some of you are already thinking about glitter bombs, paint traps, or even stink bombs, and honestly, I don't blame you. There's something so satisfying about giving a thief a taste of their own medicine. But here's the funny part. This wasn't just about getting revenge. It was about making a point. People like Karen think they can push boundaries forever, that nobody will ever call them out. And sometimes the only way to break that cycle is to do something unforgettable. And let me tell you, Karen will never forget the day she opened a package of live bees. In fact, the whole neighborhood still laughs about it. Every now and then, if someone's package gets delivered late, you'll hear a neighbor joke, "Maybe Karen grabbed it. Better get the bees ready." It became a kind of legend on our street, a story people tell at barbecues, like a neighborhood inside joke. And the best part? Since that day, Karen has kept her hands to herself. She doesn't even look at other people's porches anymore. So yeah, the bees did more than just cause chaos. They restored a little bit of peace. And that's the real lesson. Respect isn't something you can steal, demand, or fake. It's earned. And if you don't respect other people's property, eventually, karma's going to come buzzing straight for you. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more wild tales just like this one. Who knows? The next story might be even crazier than a box full of bees.